Multi-generational cruises can either create lifelong memories or major regrets, and I'm here to show you how to do it right. I'm going to break down how to plan a cruise that respects everyone's idea of a perfect vacation, even when those ideas seem wildly different. I'm helping you find the balance between freedom and togetherness so that your family naturally enjoys their time without stress or drama. I'm also showing you how a few thoughtful choices can transform your multi-generational cruise from a scheduling nightmare into a relaxing and joyful getaway. Don't miss the last strategy I'm mentioning, because it's the one that's going to hold that whole trip together. For those of you that are in a more mature part of your life, yes, us graybeards, we're at the point where we love to cruise, and we want to cruise sometimes with those we love. Think, family reunions, or just, our family's been going in 10 different directions for the last year. Let's all get together and spend a week together. They're a great idea. They really are. And when they're pulled off well, when they're planned properly, it's an amazing trip that you will never regret. The challenge is us in our 50s and our kids in their 30s and their kids in their teens, tweens, or toddlers. And maybe if you're really blessed, your parents in their 60s, 70s, 80s, our idea of fun and our idea of activity and adventure and how to spend that time and how to plan that time is different. It's different for all of us. So the goal of this video is to give you some ideas, some thoughts on how to pull it all off without getting more gray hair. Okay? Multi-generational cruises. Definitely a brilliant idea for a variety of reasons. There's built-in variety. Cruises offer entertainment, dining, activities across all ages. Doesn't matter how old you are. There's something for you to do on a cruise, whether it's an afternoon nap in the solarium or a go-kart experience, and everything in between. Another benefit, it's the logistics. It's easy. Once you get on that ship, there's no rental cars, there's no juggling hotel rooms, no coordinating daily transportation, none of that. It's all there. It's all taken care of for you. Budget control. You know what it's going to cost well ahead of time, okay? You can prepay the gratuities, you can prepay the Wi-Fi, the drink packages, the specialty dining if you want to do that. All of that, all the meals, the accommodations, activities. I'm coming from the perspective of, say, you and your spouse are paying for this for the family, okay? You can prepay 95% of it ahead of time. And then when the kids and the grandkids get on board and they want a tchotchke, they want a souvenir, that's on them. They can pay for that because you paid for the cruise and you paid for the dinner and especially dining and all of that. You can take care of all that ahead of time so you don't have to worry about it. Another positive is built-in alone time. It's easy for you to enjoy time together with the family and enjoy time just you and your spouse, or just you and your children, or just time with the grandkids, or just you. There's so many ways. Well, if you've ever been on a cruise before, you know what I'm talking about. Now just picture that with the family. One of the important things you have to do, well, not have to do, but if you want to avoid nightmares and stress, is choose the right ship and the right itinerary. Arguably, in my opinion at least, the ship matters more than the destination, because you got to know your audience. You got to know who you're traveling with. If, the youngest person on board is 20, or not on board, but the youngest person traveling with you is, say, 22, cool. You can do something that's a little more mature, a little bit more not kid specific. But if you've got 4-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 10, 12, 14, 15-year-olds, you need one of arguably the mass market cruise lines, the ones that have got kids clubs, teen lounges, they've got adult-only areas, they've got senior-friendly activities and amenities. So you got to know who you're traveling with, and then pick the right ship, the right cruise line, and the right ship. Larger ships are usually going to be a better choice because, yes, okay, they do have more crowd, but they've got more options. Smaller ships, they've got fewer options for activities, for things to do. The large ships, literally, if it's a sea day, if that ship is not anchored to a port or moored, tied up to a port, there's going to be anywhere from 2 to 15 things going on every hour of the day. So you and your kin are going to have more more things you can do, more opportunities to have fun together or separately. Now, once you pick at least the class of ship, say, you want to go on an Oasis class or a Mardi Gras class, whatever, then start looking at itineraries, because you want to look at itineraries that have options. I would not necessarily suggest a Mediterranean cruise or an Alaskan cruise if there's lots of kids involved, because those types of itineraries are more about sightseeing and history and culture than they are about, splashing around in the ocean and zip lining and not go-karts, but, four-wheelers, like that kind of thing. Okay, so before you pick that itinerary, know who you're going to be traveling with. If you've literally got 2-year-olds to 92-year-olds, you want to go arguably Caribbean, you want to go somewhere that's got, lots of activities, lots of different itineraries and excursions to choose from. That way, if you want, you can book an excursion for everybody, something that everybody will enjoy, or kids go here, with their parents, you guys do something different, grandma and grandpa go somewhere else. Also look at your accessibility needs. If you do have grandma and grandpa coming with you, what's their mobility like? Do they need a stroller? Do they need a wheelchair? Are there excursions that they can enjoy without walking 1,000 feet on a rocky coastline? Planning a multi-generational cruise, arguably, in my opinion, is something you really need to work with a travel agent on. A good travel agent, not just any travel agent. Somebody who's done it before, somebody who knows what questions to ask, knows how to help you plan that perfect trip. When you start to plan it, you need to have discussions with the family members. If you have a good travel agent, a lot of times they'll be willing to set up a time to sit down with the family over a cup of coffee or a Zoom call or a phone call and talk with them. You got to set those expectations, okay? What do people want? If you're going to give them options, okay, now if you're paying for it, you get to tell them what's happening and they can either go or not go. But if you want their buy-in, if you want their input, and if you're asking them to pay for their share, talk to them about what they're looking for in the trip. Do they want relaxation? Do they want adventure? Do they want to spend 8 hours a day in the spa? Do they want to be in the pool with the kids all day? Find out what they want. Talk with them. Get some buy-in. Get some ideas. Also, clarify boundaries. Let them know that not everybody needs to do everything together. Okay? And you can, if that's what you want, then you do that. Now, I'll be honest with you, doing that is going to add much stress to this. When I talk with people about family reunion cruises, multi-generational cruises, I talk about setting those boundaries, saying, hey, every night we want to have dinner together. Period, end of story. That's what our request is as the organizer of the trip. We want to be at a table of 6, 8, 10, 12, 2 tables of 20, whatever, with our family. Now, we'll see you guys throughout the day. We'll see you here and there. Maybe we'll do excursions with some of you, things like that. Maybe we'll, dance the night away in the silent disco with you. But at a minimum, we want to have dinner or breakfast or whatever you decide. During that conversation, talk about money. Nobody likes talking about money, particularly with family, but you need to let them know what the monetary expectations are for them. What are you paying for? What do you expect them to pay for? If you're covering it all, say, cool, don't worry about it. Show up at this time in this location, it's all covered. If you're covering the cruise, but they need to get their own airfare to get there, let them know that. If you're covering the cruise, but not the drink package because you don't drink or you don't want to spend that extra $500 to $1,000 per person, let them know that. The more information you give them as early as you possibly can, the less stressful it's going to be and the more enjoyment everybody's going to have, because there won't be awkward moments. There won't be, hey, Daddy said he was going to cover this, but he didn't pay for it. Well, no, I didn't say that. You're paying for it. And then, no. Nobody likes talking about money with family. But in a situation like this, you have to let them know. You have to tell them, hey, I've got X, Y, and Z. You need to cover A, B, and C. Okay? Choose your excursions wisely. If you're going, well, hello, Elio. If you are going to try to book an excursion for everybody, look at all the options. Talk with your travel agent if you're using one. Find excursions that will have an appeal to multiple generations, the 8-year-olds and the 80-year-olds, okay? That's going to be a challenge, to be quite honest with you, because, a lot of excursions that the 50 to 80-year-old crowd would love with the culture and maybe a wine tasting and, the history of the island and, that kind of thing is going to bore the living daylights out of an 8-year-old. And then they're going to nag you and you're not going to have it. It's going to be a night. My suggestion, if you want to do, say you're doing a 7-night cruise and you're doing, say, 3 islands or 4 islands, pick one day where you do a family excursion. Then let everybody else do their own thing. Now, my suggestion, you do what you want. It's your family, it's your cruise. I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm just trying to help you balance the family togetherness with the stress level. Speaking of balancing freedom and togetherness, again, what do you want to do? Let them know, talk to them, say, hey, I want to do family breakfast every morning and dinner or just dinner. Pick your battles. You don't have to be together 24/7 on a cruise. You're not together most times 24/7 at home. So why would you want to do that to yourself or to them? You want to enjoy their company. You don't need to be in their pocket all the time. Pick some things on board, at night or like on sea days that you can do together. If you know that there's a show on board, a Broadway show or like say you're on Royal Caribbean, the water show, that's all ages. That's something that everybody can enjoy. Pick 1 or 2 things during that trip where, hey, we're going to make reservations or we want everybody to sit together and do this together. We want to have that memory with all of you. Something else to think about is, do you want to group your cabins together or separate? You can do connecting rooms. It depends upon how early you book this and how large your group is. You can try and get 10 balcony rooms all together, or 5 balcony rooms and 5 interior cabins right across the hallway. Those kinds of things. Think about that. You might want a little bit of distance, from them. You don't have, again, it's up to you. Think about it, think it through, talk to the family to see what their thoughts are. Respect opt-outs, meaning if you plan a show for the whole family and this activity for the whole family and that activity for the whole family and people don't want to do it, let them opt out, let them go, let them skip that activity. No drama, no guilt tripping. Say, okay, cool, no problem, we'll see you at dinner or we'll see you tomorrow, that kind of thing. It's their vacation too, it's not just yours. So let them have some input and let them opt out of something. Now, choose your battles. If it's very important to you to have everybody dining together at night, let the family know that that's something that you feel really strongly about. And then have some give and take, have some compromise. Okay, if you agree to dinner every night, then I don't need you to come to the show with us, or I don't need you to do that excursion with us, okay? Just like anything else with family, it's about compromise. Thinking through those accommodations, the closeness of the rooms. There is something to be said for that encourages impromptu visits, stopping at, your grandson's room on the way back to your room and sitting down and just having a chat with him for a couple of minutes because he was right there. Depending upon finances and what you're willing to spend, possibly splurge for a suite or a couple of suites. These newer ships, particularly, the larger ships, they've got multi-bedrooms family suites on board. Maybe, instead of having 2 or 3 balcony rooms, opt for a 2-bedroom suite. Or if you've got 10 balcony rooms, opt for 2 or 3 2-bedroom suites. That way you guys are all in the suites together. Most of these ships these days, they have this whole ship within a ship concept where the area where the suites are has its own bar, has its own restaurant, has its own activities and evening entertainment at times. So that's a way for you guys to have some exclusivity and, some time with a much smaller crowd than being part of the regular ship. Again, think about people with mobility issues, dietary restrictions, special requirements. Cruise ships can accommodate a lot of things these days. The more you know in advance when you go to book that room, that group, the more information you can give them ahead of time, the easier it'll be for everybody. Depending upon the number of people we're talking about, there are benefits to group cruises. If we book a group, say, 10 rooms, or more, there are some discounts that you might be able to qualify for, or some extras. You might be able to have, a private dining room for one night just for you guys, or, extra onboard credit. There's a lot of different options, a lot of different extras that group trips qualify for. Let's talk about dining. If that dinner time as a family together is important to you, let the cruise line know ahead of time so that, they can get you all seated together. Most cruise lines can seat, usually it's up to about 12 people at the same table. If you've got more than that, you let them know, and you can have two 10 or 12 person tables side by side. If that's not important to you, as far as, if you're okay with doing a family breakfast, maybe, well, then you do that, or you can do flexible dining where, everybody's on their own for dining. If you really want to potentially make it special, book a specialty restaurant for one night for the entire family and pay for it for them. Do the steakhouse, do, the Italian, whatever. If you have kids, look for ships that have got options for kids. Either, I don't mean just kids menu, but I mean casual dining establishments. On Carnival, they got Guy's Burgers on pretty much all the ships. I don't know too many kids, as long as they're not vegetarian or vegan, who don't love a good cheeseburger and fries. Okay, things like that. Think about it ahead of time. Try and plan that out as much as you can. Now, here's that secret strategy: build in breathing room. Plan free time, and I don't mean at 2 p.m. you're not allowed to do anything. You need to go sit in the library and be quiet for an hour. No. Plan periods of time where everybody can do whatever they want. If we're going to have breakfast together at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. After that, you do you. Mom and I, we're going to be in the solarium. If you want to hang out with us, that's where we'll be. Or, we're going to be, at this pool for the afternoon. Why don't you come hang out? Don't overschedule. Remember, this is not just your trip. It's everybody's trip, and not everybody travels the same. Not everybody cruises the same way. You might be one of those go people who literally wants every minute of every day planned, whereas your kid or your grandkid or your cousin might be a go with the flow. Hey, I don't want to plan things, and we'll just figure it out as we go. Know that ahead of time, and don't sweat it. Let them do what they want to do. You can have an amazing family group cruise without overscheduling everything. Allow some downtime before, after the cruises, things like that. If you've got a huge excursion one day, plan some chill time when you get back before dinner. Maybe instead of doing, if you normally do dinner at 5:30, but you're going to be, I don't know, let's say, you want to go to Chichen Itza, you're in Mexico, and you're going to spend 2 hours on the bus each way, plus, a couple hours in the hot Mexican sun, being amazed at what they built thousands of years ago. Well, you know what? You might want to come back and take a shower and take a quick nap before you go out for dinner and then your evening activity. Remember, happy individuals makes for a happy family. When each person feels like they had their own vacation and the vacation they wanted, that memory of that group trip becomes stronger, and they're more willing to do it again and again. Maybe not every year, but maybe every other year. So now that you know how to create harmonious multi-generational cruises, you're going to need to know about Aruba's cruise port secrets, because if you don't, you can miss out some of the best experiences that island has to offer. I'm going to show you how to avoid that in this video.